And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Golden Ticket Show at For Frequency's Sake Network. We're going to be rocking out with some great best stuff. We didn't post a lot this week. We didn't have our show on Monday due to some personal issues, but we're going to break down really quickly each game on the 1 o'clock slate real fast. And we got the first one that's showing up for me is that Browns Colts game. And I really don't know what to make of this game. I think this is Watson's first game back. We don't know if he's 100% yet. You have a Colts team going on their backup, but didn't look the worst last week. I would say they looked pretty decent at least last week. The spread's at 3. The one thing I'm really interested, I took the under in that game before we knew if Watson was in or not, and it was at 41.5. Since Watson was listed as active, it went down to 39. So obviously that's something that you could really look at. They still think this game might be going under. I think this game's going to be very run heavy, and it's going to be focused on getting that ball to Jerome Ford, possibly getting Kareem Hunt going, and really pushing the run game on both teams. So I really do like that under. If you had to give me a choice, I would stay away from the spread. I would honestly buy down the points, take the money line, Browns to win the game. It's minus 180 on DraftKings. You can find it 190 on like FanDuel, MGM. MGM has it at 185. I think that's something I really like. So definitely take a look into that one. We have a Bills-Patriots game. I stayed away from this because these are two teams that it's a division game and the weather's not the best right now in the Northeast. So this just seems like something ugly could happen at any moment. The spread started at 3.5. That's when I took it at. It's at 7.5 right now. That's something I think is definitely something to look at. Something to look into is this under and the over. I don't like taking Bills unders because the Bills at any point can just go off. They can throw for 4 touchdowns in the first half and just absolutely destroy a team at any point. Most of the books are pretty much on the same line. The lines went down since the bettors have been taking the under. So I think Vegas is more or less around the same page as everyone else. This is going to be a low scoring game. But other than that, I mean, there's nothing really much to look at in that game. The money line's too high. The spread 7 should be easy, but you never know what's going to happen with the Patriots, how they're going to play, and how the Bills are going to play. They seem to be playing down to their competition this year. So I would say if you want to take anything on that, take the over or go look at the totals. I think the under might be a good look, but again, be very cautious with the Bills team and an under. The Raiders and the Bears, that ugliest matchup of the football season this year. We have 2 backup quarterbacks. The under was at 46.5 at the beginning of this week. It's dropped down to 39. I think a lot of people are expecting this under. I think everyone's expecting a Josh Jacobs game and I don't even know who the starting running back is out in Chicago this week, but I don't see him really any running back really doing well this week. That's just gonna be like gross to watch. It's not something I'm really wanting to watch. So I took the under there, but I do think that this Raiders team should pull away. So you can either take that spreads at 2, you can get it at minus 110, and or you could buy down to 126, get it on FanDuel for just the money line straight up. So that's definitely something to really look at. Giants Commanders. This is a Commanders game. I don't see any way around it. I took it on the money line and when it opened at plus 2.5. But the Commanders should be able to dominate. The Giants have been playing tons of man defense and they cannot guard in the man versus this Washington team. Washington has been dominating man defenses this year. We saw it with the Bears. We're going to see it again this week. Howell's going to have a good game. Curtis Samuel, McLaurin are both going to have solid games. Stayed away from the total, but I'm taking Commanders to win here. That's an easy one right there. Falcons Bucks. Desmond Ritter away from home is not a matchup you want to see if you're an Atlanta fan, and that's just something that it's until it gets proven wrong. That's something we're taking. The other thing I also looked at is the Falcons have not led except for the Panthers game to start the season. They have not had a lead going into halftime this entire season. So I took the -1.5 first half spread. You could probably mix that with the -2.5, the -3 that the spread is at right now for Bucks Falcons. Take the Bucks here. Bucks are fighting for a playoff spot. Falcons are trying to figure out who's going to make their roster next year at this point. Give me the Bucks -2.5. Give me the first half money line for them as well. You got Lions Ravens out. I'm not going to give a bet for this one. We've heard a lot of weird things with the weather. They're going to rely on Jahmyr Gibbs a lot, who hasn't been in the lineup for a couple of weeks. So this is something that I'm really, debating on staying with. I might stay away from it. I honestly, the only thing I taken on this was some player props. Some Monra looks good. Laporta looks like a decent target this week, so that's always something to look at. Cardinals Seahawks. Now, okay, so the Cardinals Seahawks game that's all for the 1:00 games. We're going to do a quick on the 4:00. Cardinals Seahawks. I'm not touching the spread. I think this is one of those games. I think it could be a trap. I don't think the Seahawks are going to lose to the Cardinals. I think they're not going to fall behind this team that's slowly falling apart. But I do not. This game feels like a trap. I think a lot of people are going to be hammering this money line, and a lot of people are going to be hammering the spread, and they're going to get really worried because I was so confident in the Bengals Seahawks game to be over last week, and neither team could score after their first two drives. So I'm the only thing I touched with this is I think Metcalf's going to have a good game. Lockett's going to have a good game. This is going to be a Geno Smith possibly throw. If this game stays close, it's going to be a Geno Smith throwing for 300 yards type of game. So definitely look out for that as we go on a little bit farther into the game when we get a little bit closer towards game time. If Metcalf is for sure in, I still would be cautious on any bets with him or even starting him for fantasy because with a team like this, they're already a double-digit favorite. They're not as worried. They might get Smith and Jigba a little bit more touches. They might give Lockett some more reps. So I think Metcalf might be something to stay away from personally. But if he does play and they use him as if he's 100% healthy, then by all means, I think he's definitely going to be a top target today. I think he could possibly finish around top 5 wide receiver this week. Now, this is my favorite game this week. I took this at -3. Steelers versus Rams. We are fading the Steelers any possible chance this year. The Steelers are god awful. They've gotten away with terrible wins against teams that have just screwed around and lost the lead, or this team has a slightly above average defense and Zach Wilson, but with a better coach on the offensive end. The running back can't run. Their receivers are dependent on a good quarterback, and they don't have a good quarterback. So with that being said, we're taking the Rams -3. Nothing in this defense gives me any reason to think that they can keep up with Kupp and Nacua. Now, if they obviously are finding a way to lock up Kupp, Puka and Tutu Atwell are going to have big games this week. This is just something that I think it's going to be – the only reason I think this game will be close is because it's the Steelers. They have fans all over. There's going to be loud fans there at the game. And the Steelers always find a way to somehow fight their way back into games when teams start taking their foot off the gas. So if the Rams can keep their foot on the gas, this will be a double-digit game with ease. I don't see Kenny Pickett and this team, unless their defense comes up with some great stops and some turnovers, they're not going to have any offensive presence in this week. Packers-Broncos, I am very high on the Packers this week. I think this, as Mr. Joe the Show said on our last show, this is a week for the Packers this is their put up or shut up week. If they can't win today, they might as well go ahead and start trading away players and start looking at getting ready for a top draft pick next year. I don't think they have any reason to lose this game. I don't see why this spread has went from like a minus +3 to -1. I just don't think the Broncos have what it takes this year. The Packers should be able to win this handily, but we have odds that are fairly close to each other at +100 for the Broncos, -118 for the Packers over on FanDuel. And then we're going to break down the last two games for tonight, and then we're going to go over our Monday night plays tomorrow. So be sure to check out Golden Ticket Show tomorrow. We will be going over all of the Monday Night Football game. We'll recap all of our stuff today, and we're going to go over some previews of the NBA and how to bet the rest of the MLB playoffs coming up. So our last two plays today that we're really going to look at is I would take the over in the Chargers Chiefs game. It's dropped down to about 47.5 is the best line I got up right now. But this is going to be a high scoring game between two teams who are just going to chuck the ball down the field. These two teams always score a lot against each other. The Chargers have a history of keeping these games close, and with their head coach's job on the line, this is a game they have to put some kind of fight into in order to keep themselves alive and relevant in this division right now. I think they're obviously fighting for a wild card spot, but this is definitely a big tiebreaker that's going to hurt them if they cannot put something close to it, or if they cannot win today. So give me the +6 for them as well. But I love the over. I think anything Mahomes is going to do, Herbert's going to try to match on the other end. And the last one, I'm very careful with this one because we have a lot of Dolphins fans over here at For Frequency's Sake. But I think that the Dolphins are going to cover the spread. Give me the Dolphins +3. I don't know what the score is going to be in this game. We could see another high-scoring game. But as much as the Eagles have a very solid defense and a lot better of a defense compared to the Dolphins, I don't see anyone on that team that can hold up to Tyreek Hill. They're going to have to double him. They're going to have to put someone over the top. If Tyreek Hill gets going, the Eagles are going to have a problem. And because of that, there's nothing in this. This game could come down to a field goal. I think the Dolphins could possibly pull this one out. These are two great coaches, two great quarterbacks, and two average to slightly below average defenses. So this game should be the most fun game to watch possibly in the last couple of weeks. We've been getting a lot of unders in the last couple of weeks. Hopefully this is a game that just breaks that through and we start seeing teams scoring in the next this week and going into the next couple of weeks. But yep, that's everything we have for y'all today. We're going to be posting more of our plays, more of our wins, and some of our losses if they're close, all on our Twitter at Gotham Gambling. Be sure to make sure you follow us here for the Golden Ticket Show. We go live 2 times a week, breaking down the NFL, NBA, MLB slates. And be sure to make sure you like and follow us on YouTube, Twitter, for Frequency Sake Network, for Fantasy Sake, Gotham Gambling, all our other shows. We have great shows nearly every single day, articles on Substack. Be sure to check them all out, and good luck with your bets today.